Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamu alaikum. My name is Kiran Amir and I welcome you all as an administrator of Parsa HealthNet ECHO. This is the fourth session organized under Parsa ECHO COVID response banner. As per various requests, we are pleased to announce to arrange a special session titled Your Questions Answered COVID-19 in response to several questions posed by our audience in the chat corners on our earlier virtual sessions. The session is led and facilitated by Dr. Farooq Khan, leading consultant, gastroenterologist and hepatobiliary physician at University Hospital Leicester in UK. Dr. Farooq is an integral part of Parsa ECHO team and a passionate teacher with special interest in providing palliative care to patients with specially debilitating and critical diseases. After Dr. Oj will introduce our case for today, I welcome Dr. Farooq Khan and request him to please start the session to answer your various questions regarding COVID-19. Dr. Aruj, can you please present the case here?
Dr. Oj, are you with us?
Ji, Assalamualaikum. Ji, Uzair bhai, can you share the case?
I think if we can just wait for a couple of minutes for Farooq to join. I can't see him here. Has Dr. Farooq joined, Uzair?
No, sir, I don't think so.
Okay, we just wait for a minute or so. I just want to thank all of you who have joined. My name is Asad Chaudhary and I'm director of this Parsa HealthNet program. And just to update you, next Saturday there will be another burning topic, और वो है PCR और एंटीबॉडी, कन्वालेसेंट प्लाज्मा. ये बहुत सारे सवाल हैं जो हैं, तो हमारा ये ख्याल था कि वी जस्ट हैव अ सेपरेट सेशन फॉर दिस. So that will be next Saturday, or I've requested Umar Chuktai to do that for us. And next week, next Tuesday and Wednesday, it will be Dr. Najmuddin on imaging in COVID-19. तो जिस तरह हम शुरू से कह रहे हैं कि हमारा जो फोकस है that is on primary care practice. So we'll be talking more and more about chest X-rays, और आप अपनी प्रैक्टिस में वो X-rays कैसे यूज कर सकते हैं, और a little bit about CT scan. And उसके बाद next Saturday we will be talking about anxiety related to this pandemic. Or this anxiety is not limited to us alone. It is for all the doctors and the paramedics. So आज का जो फॉर्मेट है, जिस तरह किरण ने बताया कि हम एक ब्रीफली केस प्रेजेंट करेंगे. आई एम श्योर आप उस केस के साथ बहुत कुछ रिलेट कर सकेंगे अपनी प्रैक्टिसेस में. और उसके बाद the mic will be over to Farooq, or I'm sure he will be answering a lot of questions related to that case, and then Farooq will sum up the case when he finishes, and then depending upon time we'll have question and answer. आपने नोट किया होगा, we start right on time and we like to finish by 11. और हमारे पास चूंकि ये सीरीज ऑफ सेशंस हैं, तो आपके केसेस आज भी मुझे 2-3-4 सवाल आए हैं, लेकिन मैंने हिम्मत नहीं की फारूक को भेजने की, क्योंकि फारूक ने कहना था ये बहुत तंग करता है मुझे, तो इसलिए मैंने. तो फारूक, यू हैव बीन ऑलरेडी इंट्रोड्यूस्ड, तो मैं आपको इंट्रोड्यूस नहीं करूंगा. डॉक्टर औज, आप केस प्रेजेंट करें. उजैर, यू विल बी शेयरिंग द स्क्रीन, एंड वंस यू प्रेजेंट द केस इट विल बी ओवर टू डॉक्टर फारूक. जी औज.
Ji, Assalamualaikum. My name is Dr. Oj, and I'm going to start presenting the case. The case shows a 70-year-old female, known diabetic. She's on gliclazide and metformin, good glycemic control, also taking rosuvastatin. Her history was she had an active complaint of fever since 5 days, which was up to 99 to 101 degree Fahrenheit, which settled with paracetamol. She had progressive weakness, especially after mild exertion. No history of dyspnea or cough. Her saturation was 94 to 95% on room air. She was taking paracetamol 2 tablets TDS and azithromycin 500 mg once daily since 3 days. Zerbe, can you next slide, please? Can you change the slide, please, Zerbe? Her lab investigations showed her HB was 13.2 and TLC 4.3, platelet 115 and neutrophils 58, lymphocytes 35 and CRET was 0.83. Bilirubin 0.6, her ALT, AST was respectively 60 and 59. Alkaline phosphatase was 94 and albumin 3.3. C-reactive protein was 6.78 and D-dimers were 370. Ferritin was 496.24 and LDH was 230. Her COVID PCR was detected. Next slide, please. The questions regarding this case scenario are, does she need referral to a hospital? D-dimer was high, so oxygen saturation was 94 to 95%. So should we consider low molecular weight heparin or other blood thinner? And is there any role of steroids in this particular case? And is remdesivir an option here? If we decide on home care, then how frequently the labs need repeating? Thank you.
G. Farooq, we would like you to go ahead.
I'm looking for the share screen button, really. It's not coming up on my.
Uzair, if you can stop share. G. G.
You guys can see it now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So we won't waste a lot of time on introduction. Really, I guess you know who I am, and we swiftly move on to the topic today. What we have thought about for the last few days is how we can answer your concerns, particularly whilst we can put them into the context of a clinical scenario. So let's just go through these. I have tried to put them into the blocks क्योंकि आप लोगों ने questions बहुत पूछे हैं, इसमें कोई शक नहीं. And to answer those, the only way or the option I have was to look at these and put them into the groups. There may well be, even after this talk, that you will have questions which remain unanswered, which you can carry on sending, and we'll try how we can answer this. So some of the questions were on disease course and process. We don't understand how's COVID affecting us. Is the timing relevant? Are there any factors that affect the course of the illness? Isolation पे बहुत ज़्यादा लोगों ने पूछा है. When should we start it? When should we stop it? What should we do? Moderate disease management is very hot topic currently, particularly from home care management. And the last treatment, a lot of you have asked about the recovery trial, role of dexamethasone, remdesivir, and tocilizumab. Anticoagulation पे बहुत ज़्यादा questions पूछे गए हैं. When do we start it? क्या मैं Loprin शुरू करवा दूं जैसे ही patient को COVID हो गया? So all these, and lastly the diet and vitamins. You have noticed that I haven't quite touched tests, particularly because Asad has very kindly organized a full session by a pathologist in a few days' time. So I will try to ignore touching on the test. Okay, we have shared this slide before. What is the disease process? I really like to spend about 2 minutes on this. 4 groups, no symptoms, mild to moderate, severe or critical. So we know that. There's nothing new about this. 85%, you and I should be able to look after at home. They really do not need hospital. So therefore, we have devised the paradigm. 15% reach the hospital and they either go to critical care or they require oxygen therapy outside critical care. Important thing isme dekho aap कि no matter whichever group you belong to, if this is where you have acquired the infection, you actually have no symptoms till day 5 and to day 6. ये बहुत important है, ये मैं पहले भी कह चुका हूँ कि just don't chase patients from the day 1 of their symptoms. Important is that you go back at least to 5 to 6 days, no matter which category you are. And at this point, you don't have symptoms, but you already have been exposed to the virus. Okay. So what happens then? Next 3 days, your patient will have fever or cough, most of them. However, it's very relevant. If you look very closely, patients who deteriorate, they deteriorate on day 2 to day 3. Or agar aap closely dekho, you will actually see the patients who've gone to ICU are the ones who deteriorated within the first 48 hours. So ये बहुत important है. Why? Because वो patients जिनको आप home manage कर रहे हो, you really need to be very sure as how to follow them up, when to do the blood tests, when to give them a call back again, and what kind of things you need to do. Why? Because हमें ये पता है अब कि वो patients जो deteriorate करेंगे, जिनको हॉस्पिटल चाहिए होगा या जिनको आईसीयू चाहिए होगा, वो अपने आप को यूजुअली within the first 48 to 72 hours declare कर देते हैं. So therefore this is a very important timeline. Okay, what happens next? Patients go to ICU. We know unfortunately this group does not do very well. The mortality is about 3 out of 10. Are there any factors associated with the disease assessment? Exposure, some of you have asked कि डॉक्टर्स ज्यादा क्यों अफेक्ट हो रहे हैं, and I think there is general hypothesis is that it's probably because their exposure to the viral particles is much more than people who will get in a general public. So therefore हम अपने wards में या जो हम में से gastroenterologists हैं particularly या जो surgeons हैं, ENT वाले हैं, dentist हैं, जो AGPs procedures कर रहे हैं, they get exposed much more quantity. मैंने आपको last time बताया था कि अगर normal breathing pattern हो COVID patient का, तो he exhales about 100 viral particles. For us to get infected, we need to sit with that gentleman really close, within a 1 meter distance if you like, for about 10 to 15 breaths. You need about 100 to 2,000, 1,000 to 2,000 viral particles to get infected. But what you and I see, when patient cough, they splutter during gastroscopy, or they sneeze, the viral particles go up to 30,000. So probably this is a one phenomenon that exposed, because more viral particles get exposed, they're going to be much more exaggerated inflammatory response, the cytokine response that then lead into multi-organ failure. I will talk about that in a minute. Second, the factors that is high risk group. High risk group क्या है? देखो, high risk group हम discuss कर चुके हैं. Your liver disease, your age more than 65, your diabetes, particularly your insulin dependent diabetics, and your heart disease, and perhaps these are the factors who explain why we see more mortality in Asian or Black African subgroup, because we know कि ये वो group of individuals हैं जिनको ये comorbidities ज़्यादा होती हैं. Some of us actually do not know whether we are diabetic or not, or we have some low-lying hypertension or ischemic heart disease or cerebrovascular disease for that matter. It's only when the body goes under stress it expresses or exposes itself. क्या timing relevant है? We have already discussed this thing. जब आपके पेशेंट को सिम्टम हुए हैं, अगर वो डे 1 या डे 2 पे आपको कांटेक्ट कर रहा है और वो मॉडरेट कैटेगरी में ऑलरेडी फॉल कर रहा है, यू शुड हैव अ वेरी वेरी हाई सस्पिशन, or you should watch that patient like a hawk, and that's really really important. The second category, if you like, अगर वो डे 6 डे 7 पे आपको कांटेक्ट कर रहा है कि जी मुझे बुखार चढ़ते को आज 6वां 7वां दिन है, पैरासीटामोल से उतर नहीं रहा, मुझे खांसी है लेकिन मेरा सांस जो है वो अब पहले से बेहतर है, you already know कि this guy has actually probably gone over the peak of the symptoms and he is already towards a recovery phase. तभी इसीलिए हम ये कहते हैं कि if you have patient, you isolate for 7 days. These are for symptoms. If you have come in contact, you then quarantine for 14 days. So there is all relevance to this. क्योंकि अगर आप contact में आए हैं, तो we know for the first 5 to 7 days you may not have any symptoms, but we want you to quarantine till day 14, because even if you would have acquired it, you should have cleared it if you remain clinically well. And the other category is जिसमें हम कहते हैं कि आप 7 days के लिए self isolate करो, वो group है जो actually symptoms के साथ आ रहा है. Isolation, is it relevant? Yes, it is. Of course, that's by and large the only way that we have managed to control the disease. मैंने इसको खत्म कब करना है? Yes, you can finish it at day 14 if you remain clinically well. Do I need PCR? Before I come out of the isolation? ये questions आप लोगों में से बहुत सारे लोगों ने पूछा है, और इसमें जो इस वक्त current guidelines हैं और जो इस वक्त most of the hospital, जो इस वक्त मेरा hospital कर रहा है, वो ये है clearly कि वो लोग जिनको जो healthy थे, जो symptom free थे, they do not need to repeat their PCRs. देखो ये acute virus है. How many times we check viral PCRs for hepatitis A? हम उनके PCRs check करते हैं वो viruses जो actually grow into chronicity, like your hepatitis C and hepatitis B. You want to know whether the virus, we already know this is an acute virus. It comes and it goes and it's less likely to return back. Reinfection is, and we'll talk about it later. So ये आप लोग ज़हन में रखो. Do you have to have a negative PCR to come out of isolation? The answer is no. क्या कोई ऐसे लोग हैं जिनमें आप प्रेफर करोगे कि वो एटलीस्ट एक नेगेटिव पीसीआर कर लें before they come out of isolation? And I think if you live with very very elderly parents, I also think if you have somebody who's on immunomodulators at home, I also think if you have someone who's pregnant, it's a high risk group. अगर आपके घर में या आपके close contacts में कोई ऐसा individual है, I think it is very reasonable. It is very reasonable to then ask for a negative PCR. अच्छा, negative PCR हो गया, 14 days पूरे, क्या मैं बाहर आ जाऊं? जी बिल्कुल आ जाओ, but you need to carry on doing precautions for at least 7 more days. बहुत simple precautions हैं. Keep on washing your hands, keep the mask on. Do not sit closed in a closed room. बाहर मिल लो, बाहर lawn में बैठ जाओ, गर्मी है बरामदे में बैठ जाओ. You can, लेकिन टॉयलेट से यूज करते हो तो प्रॉपरली वॉश करें. अपना वॉश बेसिन, टूथब्रश जिस एरिया में किया है वहां पे, पर्टिकुलरली अगर आपने वजू किया है, नाक साफ किया है, तो उस बेसिन को अच्छी तरह उसी वक्त सोप से और पानी से धो दें, अगर आपको ये लगता है कि आपके बाद कोई और भी उसको इस्तेमाल करेगा. इसी तरह बाथरूम है, टॉयलेट है, अगर आपने टॉयलेट यूज कर लिया तो उसको फिनाइल से, ब्लीच से, इससे साफ कर दें. बिकॉज वी नो, मैंने आपको लास्ट टॉक में एविडेंस दिखाया था कि there were 9 patients who they followed the stool as well as nasopharyngeal samples, and it really carried on till day 2021. So it's important. Okay, we have already shared this, but I really want very very quickly to talk through, because there is still some level of confusion. इसमें हम ये भी बात करेंगे कि why have we included bloods for your category B, और हर एक ब्लड टेस्ट की क्या वैल्यू है, ये क्यों ऐड किया गया है. I am very aware, I work in a welfare state, and I'm very aware that resources, particularly in Pakistan, they are very limited. So therefore, हम कोई भी ऐसा टेस्ट या कोई भी ऐसा इन्वेस्टिगेशन रिक्वेस्ट करें तो उसके मीनिंग होने चाहिए, और क्या मैं सिर्फ एक सिंपल सवाल पूछ के उस टेस्ट को अवॉइड कर सकता हूँ, दैट इज वेरी रेलेवेंट. लेट्स टॉक अबाउट दिस. माइल्ड प्रेजेंटेशन और सीवियर, देयर शुड नॉट बी एनी कंफ्यूजन अबाउट दिस रियली. और आप लोगों में ज्यादा लोगों ने क्वेश्चंस पूछे भी मॉडरेट में से. सो लेट्स टॉक अबाउट मॉडरेट. व्हाट इज अ मॉडरेट? So your patient contacts you, his heart rate is about 50 to 120, SATs 92 to 94, 95%. Your respiratory rate is anywhere between 16 to 24. We'll talk about the bloods. आप उसका chest x-ray request करो, लेकिन आपका ये patient अगर इस category में fall कर रहा है, तो you can carry on doing home self-care. However, within the moderate category, you have 3 subsets. ये जो आपका patient है, इसको आप घर में मॉनिटर कर सकते हो. इसके ब्लड टेस्ट भी आपको वो होंगे जो बहुत ज्यादा abnormal नहीं होंगे. What does that mean? Full blood count lymphopenia नहीं होएगा. Lymphopenia in its own rights is a risk factor of one of the things that people look in the blood test for. We know that the patients who get lymphopenia at early stage, they have a rather rough course of disease. So therefore, मेरा ख्याल आप लोग पाकिस्तान में इसको CBC कहते हो, हम लोग उसको फुल ब्लड काउंट. सो CBC प्लीज करवा लो, उसकी जरूरत, क्योंकि आप व्हाट यू लुकिंग एट व्हाइट सेल काउंट एंड यू लुकिंग एट लिम्फोपेनिया. मुझसे लोग नाराज होते हैं कि आप एंटीबायोटिक्स जो है हमें मशवरा नहीं देते या आप ज्यादती करते हैं. आपको कहना चाहिए कि बहुत ज्यादा एंटीबायोटिक खाओ और बार बार खाओ. मैं ये नहीं कह सकूंगा, because I think there are medical reasons for it. So how do we assess? So what you have now is full blood count. If the white cell count is up, then you actually know that there is some degree of elements of infection is good. White cell count usually don't go up tremendously in a viral infection. Your CRP does. It's important to know. और अगर lymphopenia के साथ आपके पास raised white cell count की तरफ आप जा रहे हो, तो by all means you should consider start antibiotics. Okay. इस patient को you can monitor for about 24 hours. Roth score very quickly. What is Roth score? आप पेशेंट को ये कहोगे कि आप काइंडली अपनी जबान में, सराइकी पंजाबी जो भी है उसकी, कि आप गिनती गिनना शुरू कर दें, और आप at the other end of the phone you just watching him that when does he break his breath. There's a disclaimer here. Roth score is not validated for COVID telephone or telemedicine assessment. This is why I have added respiratory rate, saturation. We've got phone apps now who can monitor your SATs, heart rates, as well as we have added bloods to it. इन पेशेंट्स के जब आप चेस्ट एक्सरे देखोगे, वो व्हाट्सएप पे आपको मैसेज करेंगे, तो उनमें कोई इन्फिल्ट्रेट नहीं होएगा. ये लो कैटेगरी ऑफ मॉडरेट है. इनको आपने सिर्फ वॉच करना है, इनको एंटीबायोटिक्स नहीं देनी है, इनको हॉस्पिटल नहीं भेजना, एंड यू आस्क देम टू कांटेक्ट यू विद इन 24 आवर्स. Okay, your category B, you start to get slightly more serious about this one. इसके आप ब्लड्स भी कराओगे, इसके आप चेस्ट एक्सरे भी देखोगे. चेस्ट एक्सरे पे you'll get very very minimal infiltrates. They're not even unilateral to 50%, certainly less than 50% on the bilateral infiltrates, but they are very mild. लेकिन ये जो ग्रुप है ना, इस पे आपको ब्लड्स पे रिलाई करना, because they could easily be either already or heading towards CRS. What is CRS? Cytokine release syndrome, and I'll talk to you about that in a minute as well. अगर ऐसे पेशेंट में ये सिम्टम्स हैं और इन्फिल्ट्रेट्स प्रेजेंट हैं, ग्रीन स्पूटम है, उसको व्हाइट सेल काउंट उसका रेज्ड है, लिम्फोपेनिया है, CRP इंक्रीज कर रहा है, इसको आप एंटीबायोटिक जरूर दो, जरूर, and it's very relevant. Okay, category C, if there is evidence of CRS, if there is evidence of a high risk group, I think you should have a very very low threshold referring this patient straight to hospital. The assessment line for this is 6 hours. इस patient को 24 hour में assess करना, bloods about 48 hours. You can repeat if he clearly if it deteriorates. अगर आप 24 hours में दोबारा assess करते हो, deteriorate नहीं कर रहा, bloods दोबारा कराने की जरूरत नहीं है. Category B में आ जाए. ये वो patient है आपके जो हम already कह चुके हैं, they are sitting on a very very thin fence. इनको आपने within 12 hours assess करना है, and you may want to do the blood test within 24 hours. And if I'll tell you in a minute why blood test is relevant. Let's talk about CRP. CRP जो है, we usually actually don't see it very high in viral infection. मेरे ख्याल इस पेशेंट का जो भी आप पिछले गुजरा है उसका is about 6. So there's nothing terribly to worry about it. वायरल इन्फेक्शन में ये माइल्ड होता है, बैक्टीरियल इन्फेक्शन में ये थोड़ा ज्यादा होता है. However, एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज जो ज़हन में रखने वाली वो ये है कि a lot of the CRP is directly propagated by IL-6 activity within the liver. So we actually know that's more driven by inflammation rather than infection. Half-life of the CRP is about 19 hours. So therefore it's much more beneficial in the recovery phase. अगर पेशेंट है हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट हो गया, ऑक्सीजन पे है, आईवी एंटीबायोटिक्स पे है, तो CRP give me a better value of that he is clinically getting better because the half life is just about under 24 hours. When he starts to improve, I should see some decline in his CRP. अच्छा, क्या कोई ऐसा टेस्ट है जो मुझे ये बता दे कि ये CRP वायरल इन्फेक्शन की वजह से हाई है या ये CRP bacterial infection? So the answer is yes. There's a test you can do, procalcitonin. वो आप रिक्वायर पाकिस्तान में भी होता है, हर जगह होता है. We do that fairly in our very sick liver patients as well, अगर हमें कोई concern है. So you can ask for procalcitonin if you're not sure whether the CRP is viral or bacterial. LDH हम क्यों करवा रहे हैं? क्योंकि देखो ये याद रखो कि lungs LDH the main source है, and we know कि particularly जब pulmonary injury होती है और LDH starts to go up. अच्छा, I'm not talking about very mild higher up, I'm talking about good 300 plus. So that sort of figure. So therefore LDH हमने आपको request किया कि आप उसको पहले ही in the assessment करवा लो. D-dimers, is it relevant? D-dimer is actually very relevant. Why? What is a D-dimer? It's a product of the fibrin, and it tells us whether it's a microvascular or macrovascular. So D-dimer अगर उसका 2 to 3 fold आपके patient का already है and it is heading towards this patient needs hospital, इसको घर मत रखें please. The D-dimer is as important as it is in its own rights. अगर D-dimers की value more than 3 to 4 है और जब आपने blood repeat किया और वो ऊपर जा रही है, ये patient he should go to hospital because he may not only have very high level of infection or inflammation, he would very clearly or at a very high risk of throwing thromboemboli. So therefore he will have much more hypoxia than your normal infection. Okay. Lastly, what is a cytokine release syndrome? I promise I'll talk about it. And cytokine release syndrome is a very specific feature which we have seen in COVID infections. We have actually already seen in previous infections as well, in SARS-CoV and MERS. But why do you have it? ये हमारे वो patients जो immunotherapies पे होते हैं ना, उनको ये होता है. How do we diagnose it? This is why we've asked ferritin. If on the day one you do it ferritin more than 1000 and it's rising, or if it's more than 2000, you need one of these, including lymphopenia. Any one of these three plus 2 of these would declare this CRS. This patient cannot stay at home. Moderate category का patient आपके पास आया है, आपने उसको घर रखा, आपने उसके bloods किए और bloods के results में से either one of this is there and 2 of this is there. Guys, this patient, please don't keep him in the hospital. Once they start heading towards CRS, the decline of the clinical activity is extremely rapid, extremely rapid. ये वो patients हैं जिनको, और ये वो patient हैं जो हमारे 10 to 15% मैंने आपको दिखाए हैं, who do bad and they deteriorate within matter of hours. ये आपकी आंखों के सामने deteriorate करते हैं and they really go into multi-organ failure. So please be very watchful of these. Okay, I'm now moving into treatment categories. Dexamethasone. Okay, so recovery trial, one of the UK's to be, I think it's COVID's largest trial, to be fair, the very first study which is randomized, and this has got separate arms. I'm very happy and proud to be really, because Leicester Hospital ने इसमें बहुत actively participate किया है. There are 11,000 patients from about 175 hospitals within NHS. So it's not just 1 or 2 center base, it's very largely. It's got different arms, और वो arms सुन लीजिए, dexamethasone versus placebo or no dexamethasone, standard care, hydroxychloroquine, tocilizumab, remdesivir, azithromycin. So हमें 5 answers इस trial से मिलने हैं. Dexamethasone के सबसे पहले क्यों मिल गए? Because the benefit was considered extremely powerful. So that's what they've done. Okay, so what we have seen in dexamethasone and what we have seen in the standard care group, dexamethasone has reduced the death rate by 1/3 in ventilated patients. 1 in 5 in patients they're receiving high levels of oxygen. ये important है, इसको देखो, note करो. There was no benefit of those patients who did not require either oxygen or respiratory support. So आपका जो mild group है, घर में बैठा हुआ है, क्या उसको फर्क पड़ेगा? अच्छा, let's compare it with the standard care. 28-day mortality उन लोगों में जिनको डेक्सामेथासोन नहीं मिली, it was high amongst those जो ventilated थे. Intermediate वो लोग थे जिनको ऑक्सीजन चाहिए था. Look at the people who either not on oxygen or any respiratory support. They did not have dexamethasone and the mortality is extremely low. तो इससे अब हमें क्या पता लगा? So what do we now know? There is absolutely no role of dexamethasone or steroids in mild or moderate category A disease, the disease which is sitting at home. ये मैंने एविडेंस प्रेजेंट ही इसलिए किया है ताकि कुछ लोग बहुत नाराज हुए थे कि ये हमें स्टेरॉइड्स के लिए भी नहीं कह रहा, हम तो स्टेरॉइड्स देना चाहते हैं. आप लोग जरूर दो if you think clinically it's required, but the evidence in your mild and moderate, particularly your category A, really for home care there is no role. It doesn't make any difference. Where does it make a difference? When your patient goes to hospital, when he from B, even in the moderate category, when he goes to hospital, when he requires some form of oxygen or indeed a ventilation. Okay, मैंने देनी कैसे है ये? अच्छा, एक चीज याद रखें, dexamethasone 1 milligram is about 7 milligrams of your prednisolone. So वो अगर आप prednisolone देंगे, इसकी equivalent हमने दिया इस trial में, they use 6 milligram dose, which is equivalent to about 40 milligram there and thereabouts. So if you do want to give prednisolone, which you will for a pregnant or a breastfeeding woman, you won't give dexamethasone, you will use 40 milligram of those. So 2 milligram tablet, you can give 6. You certainly can give injection as well. It does not have to be oral. और मैंने उसकी यहाँ पे dose आपको लिख दी है to convert. अच्छा, वो patient जो मैंने moderate category 2 में hospital भेजा, आपके पास, आपने उसको जाते डेक्सामेथासोन पे शुरू कर दिया और वो डे 4 डे 5 पे इंप्रूव कर गया, उसकी ऑक्सीजन भी उतर गई, ही वाज बेटर. उस पेशेंट को आपने जब डिस्चार्ज करना है तो उसको प्लीज खुदा के लिए डेक्सामेथासोन पे मत डिस्चार्ज करें. देयर इज नो बेनिफिट. द डोज ऑफ डेक्सामेथासोन इज 10 days. वी नो दैट. ट्रायल में दे गिव इट फॉर 10 days and they saw the difference. But we've also seen the patients who were discharging before those 10 days, but they do not need to go. ये कोई एंटीबायोटिक का कोर्स नहीं है जो 10 दिन का पूरा करना है. So that what you basically then do, if they're better and your clinical suspicion they're getting better, they're off oxygen, you wash them for 24 hours and they're going home, that's fine. They don't have to carry on dexamethasone. Okay, quickly moving to remdesivir. What is it? Remdesivir is, we know that it's a nucleotide analog, viral infection. It's very helpful and it is licensed for use in adults with severe. Again, please note this, it's severe COVID infection. So it's come from that study, New England Journal of Medicine में published हुई थी, and it's a good study. It's a large evidence base. Over 1,000 patients, over 500 to remdesivir, and about over 500 similar amount to placebo. Look what they found. 89% of these patients जिनको ये दवाई शुरू की थी, they already had severe disease, and the subset had 29% who were critical disease. और severe disease में क्या फर्क है? Severe disease वो हैं जिनको आपने high flow oxygen दी हुई है या आपने non invasive ventilation पे रखा हुआ है, और critical disease वो है जिसमें organ failure, multi organ failure, or those patients are ventilated either on ventilator or on ECMO. This is your critical care disease. अच्छा, मैं, if you really focus on this graph, there's a reason I've put this one here. So this is for patients who are not receiving oxygen, and if you look between placebo and remdesivir, these lines pretty much very close to each other. Now come, have a look at this one. So patients receiving oxygen, you can see that the difference is getting bigger between the two lines. But जैसे ही आप उस पे गए हो कि उनको आपने वेंटिलेटर पे डाला है या एक्मो पे डाला है या वो मल्टी ऑर्गन फेलियर में गए, तो वो लाइन दोबारा क्लोज होना शुरू होगी. And this is really, really important. ये मैंने ग्राफ रखा इसलिए था ताकि मैं आप लोगों को ये चीज क्लियर करूं कि remdesivir is important. It's not only how and why it's, but it's when it is important. जब results आए तो we've all picked up there's a faster recovery and there's about 4 days benefit. So there's not just mortality, but recovery is always better. However, अगर आप ये देखो कि there is no recovery difference in a critical group, जो मैंने अभी आपको बताया, इस ग्रुप को देखो, इनकी lines they're pretty much together, and there is no difference in mild to moderate disease. Again, what we've learned from this trial in remdesivir, 2 things. One, इनको आपने mild to moderate disease में नहीं देना. it is absolutely no value to it. You give them when they are in hospital and you give it early. You don't delay it, because abhi humne ye dekha कि when this gap, it narrows down, it closes down as the patient deteriorates. So therefore, again, it's important. आपके moderate category 2, category C, ये patient आपके पास गया, आपने उसको dexamethasone दिया, 24 hours गुजर गए, patient is not improving, और उसकी oxygen concentration बढ़ रही है. I think if you want to give remdesivir, that is the point where you'll give it. Convalescent plasma. I have been asked to talk about this. Does anyone of you know this? Of course, you won't be able to answer this for me. This is Emil von Behring. He's a German physiologist. Early 1900s, mein na, this guy has been named as child savior. I don't know whether pediatricians hain ya in group, hamare group mein wo GPs jo bachon ko bhi treat karte hain. They might have heard about him. This guy has used convalescent plasma for diphtheria treatment. ये वो ज़माने की मैं बात कर रहा हूँ जब diphtheria का treatment नहीं था. And he then actually got a Nobel Prize for this discovery of convalescent plasma. What is a convalescent plasma? It's basically वो individuals जो आपके recover कर गए हैं, आप उनसे वो निकालेंगे and you'll give it to your patients who have got COVID-19 infection. Okay, somebody has asked हमें titer कितना होना चाहिए? So the titer has to be 1 to the ratio of 160 at least. You can give 1 to the 80, but that's really low. I would suggest it has to be over and above. But dekho, it's not necessarily mean that you should give it. Kya iske benefits hain? I'm going to share 2 studies. 5 patients mein, sirf critically ill patients mein, China mein ye study hui, that was published, and they said that when they're given for 3 weeks convalescent plasma, they have noticed clinical improvement in the SOFA score, antibody titers have gone up, their temperature, the blood, everything starts to settle down in those 5 patients after 1 week. To be honest, none of us can make much out of this study. This is not only underpowered, 5 patients की base पे मैं nation के लिए treatment नहीं start कर सकता ना. It's very, very difficult. I can't approve for it. दूसरी चीज देखो कि all those patients were already receiving ritonavir combination. This is HIV treatment, by the way. They were already receiving antibiotics. They were already receiving methylpred. So how can I say for sure that this was actually the convalescent plasma that have made the life difference out of these patients? Okay, slightly better trial, big numbers, 103, and they were clearly randomized to 1 and randomized to no convalescent plasma. Again, इसमें आप देखो कि 87% has a nasopharyngeal clearance in the 72 hours of receiving convalescent plasma. एक theory ये है कि अगर आप patient का viral clear कर देते हो, तो then it is really, really useful, because then you see a very low course of the disease. But let me tell you this. अभी मैंने आपको बताया कि viral load जो मर्जी होए, at day 14 it starts to fall down, right? But we've also talked about the patients who go to ICU or who go to hospital. They're actually spiked to go there at day 10, day 11, and they can stay there for 3 weeks. इसका मतलब viral particles to day 14 पे नीचे आना. So basically, that guy who is now on ITU is not just on ITU because उसका viral load बहुत ज़्यादा है. He is on ITU because he is in cytokine storm. He is in multi-organ failure. There's a lot of inflammation going on, so as infection. So therefore, just by treating his viral load, am I actually doing much benefit to it? No, that's not necessarily. Again, they've also seen clinical improvement in severe but not life-threatening group. अब इसका मतलब again फिर यही है, वो patient जिसको अगर आपने convalescent plasma देना है, and if you think that he would benefit from it, please give it when he is early disease of severity. Not in a mild, not in a moderate, घरों में ना लें जाके. There's no need for it. GP practices में जाके convalescent plasma ना लगवाएं. It will make no difference unless your patient is severely ill. But I think, can I just make a very confident statement? Convalescent plasma has got no role currently. Proven role in the treatment of COVID-19. It's only for investigational use. आप लोग प्लीज जिनके जो रिकवर्ड कर चुके हैं उनको encourage करें कि वो अपना plasma levels blood banks में जरूर जमा करवाएं to see what their antibodies are, because there are trials going. And I don't know whether we have colleagues from PKLI or Aga Khan. They should be able to tell us whether they are currently doing trials. It is in UK as well. It is only for investigational use. अगर आप use करो भी, तो just use it as a part of the trial. देखो, हम अभी तक hepatitis C की infection से deal नहीं कर पा रहे. So don't use it. Don't buy it from blood banks which aren't authorized to do it, because you don't know. The risk of infection through convalescent plasma is immense if it's not really looked after properly. Okay, hydroxychloroquine, it's out of the picture, guys, I'm afraid. Recovery trial, we have actually closed this arm very, very early because we found that there's no difference in hospital stay. There was no mortality benefit. And WHO, the Solidarity trial, was also stopped due to lack of benefit. Achha, severe disease mein koi fark padta hai? The answer is no. In fact, it causes higher mortality in that group as well as intubation. To main bada impressed hu, maine kaha iska matlab hai ki there may be some role in mild to moderate. Can I make them better? कि घर बैठे लोगों को मैं hydrochloroquine लिख के देता जाऊं और वो बेहतर होते जाएं. Unfortunately, no, we did not see any. There was no symptomatic benefit and there was no increased viral clearance either. However, what we have seen, unfortunately, high mortality, arrhythmias, and QTC prolongation. अच्छा, हम Asian community, subcontinent, particularly in Pakistan, we have a lot of cardiac disease, largely ischemic, but they do have generally some conduction problems. So please, the evidence is absolutely clear. I cannot emphasize it anymore. Please do not prescribe hydroxychloroquine to your patients. Neither mild, moderate, nor severe disease. It's of no use. Tocilizumab, what is its IL-6 blocker? We have seen it. It's used in COVID-19. I'm just quickly going to share this study with you. 63 patients with severe COVID who received tocilizumab, and they have seen 11% reduction for a 14-day mortality. ये आपकी हुकूमत पाकिस्तान की guidelines हैं. The reason I wanted to show this, that is tocilizumab being used in Pakistan? The answer is yes. Again, kindly हर एक से ना लगवाएं. उन सेंटर्स से जरूर डिस्कस कर लें. अगर उनमें आप पेशेंट ट्रांसफर नहीं भी कर सकते, कांटेक्ट कर लें, एडवाइस ले लें. जो सेंटर्स जिसको एटलीस्ट ट्रायल, उस यूके में इट्स बीन यूज्ड ऑन ट्रायल बेसिस. इट इज वन ऑफ द आर्म फॉर रिकवरी. Early CRS में मत दें. You know you can give methylpred if it's early CRS. You don't really have to give tocilizumab. But yes, you may be able to reserve it for patients who are on tocilizumab, on methylpred, early CRS, and they're deteriorating over the course of 24 to 48 hours. Again, it's better कि अगर आप इसको early course of the disease में दे दो, rather than you wait too long for it. Okay, thromboprophylaxis लोगों ने पूछा था. In the light of evidence, it's important. Hospitalized versus home care. A very nice study, and they looked at ward-based admissions to ICU, and they looked at the micro and microvascular thrombosis. 1.1% to ward-based to 69% risk of this in patients who are on ICU. There are no current guidelines, guys. There is no data to support anticoagulation in mild disease at home. और लोपरिन तो बिल्कुल मत दें. खुदा के लिए ये बिल्कुल जायज चीज नहीं है. And I have absolutely no idea where is this coming from. Yes, COVID-19, it generates an inflammatory response. हमें से जो लोग gastroenterologist हैं, आप इसको थोड़ा सा मुझे सोच के बताइए. हमारे IBD के patients होते हैं, हमारे compensated cirrhotic patients, they both are prothrombotic states. Do we start them aspirin? Are there any guidelines? We start them on Loperin valves at home? No, we don't. Of course we don't. But on the other hand, ये patients जो ward में या hospital में admit हो गए या वो जो ICU में चले गए, they will need and definitely need anticoagulation. उन patients का आप क्या करेंगे जिनको आप घर भेज रहे हैं? Okay, so I think it's very reasonable to give them whatever you have started them on. You can send them home for 6 weeks post discharge. सिर्फ ये याद रखें, वो पेशेंट जिनको tocilizumab मिलता है, it induces cytochrome P450 system, so your apixaban and your rivaroxaban, it should be avoided. उन पेशेंट्स को उनसे पूछ लें पेशेंट से कि आप लोग जब हॉस्पिटल में थे, कोई डिस्चार्ज लेटर होगा, या कोशिश ये करें कि जिस particularly मेरे GP colleagues जिस anticoagulation पे वो patient discharge हुआ है उसी को continue करें and there's no evidence you continue for more than 6 weeks, so just carry on for 6 weeks. और patient अगर established है और already on anticoag before he hits the hospital, तो better ये है कि जब वो heparin अपनी बंद करे और घर जा रहा हो तो उसको उसी anticoag पे शुरू कर दीजिए जिस पे वो hospital में आया था. So it may be warfarin, it may be endoxiban, it may be rivaroxaban, whichever it was, try to establish him on that one. ये UK Society of Hematology and Pakistan Society of Hematology की guidelines में भी है. So this is again very evidence based and in the guidelines. The very last slide, you'll be pleased to know diet and vitamins. क्या मैं कोई ऐसी खुराक खा सकता हूँ जिससे मैं कोविड इन्फेक्शन से बच जाऊं? क्या मैं कोई ऐसी खुराक खा सकता हूं जिससे मुझे लगा हुआ कोविड भाग जाए? Unfortunately, the answer of both is no. There is no diet that will keep you away of COVID, and there is no diet that will make your COVID run away. It's only precautions and preventive measures. अच्छा, तो मैं क्या ऐसी कोई चीज खा सकता हूं जो मुझे बेहतरी की तरफ लेके जाए? The answer is yes. मैं हमेशा ही कहता होता हूं, आप जिसको खाना चाहते हैं खा सकते हैं, खाने में कोई रुकावट नहीं है. प्लीज आप लोग इस चीज को अंडरस्टैंड करो. अब पुट दिस स्लाइड अप फॉर यू. दिस इज ईट वेल गाइड, दिस इज ईट वेल प्लेट. आपके पेशेंट्स अपने मोबाइल्स पे निकाल सकते हैं, आप लोग अपने पेशेंट्स को प्रिंट आउट निकाल के दे सकते हो. व्हाट इज दिस? दिस इज, it tells you about what your patient needs to eat to keep a healthy, balanced diet. There is no need for any parhez, there is no need for any extra precautions, just eat normally. Citrus is more helpful. Why? Vitamins equal to immune system, particularly vitamin A, vitamin B6, vitamin C. And does vitamin D helps? The answer is yes. देखो, अगर आप लोगों को biochemistry याद हो, जब हम लोग medical school year 1 में थे, a lot of the chemical reactions, protein synthesis, they're reliant on vitamins as their co-substrate or coenzymes, if you remember. So yes, similarly, आपका immune system, protein build-up, which is all protein-based, heavily relies on vitamins. But again, you don't need to prescribe these multivitamins. A lot of these vitamins are in this healthy, balanced diet. But I understand that in resource-limited, poor countries, हर एक के पास इतने पैसे नहीं होते कि वो अच्छा खाना और balanced diet खा सके. And if you feel that's a risk factor, I'm really very happy for you to prescribe multivitamins. Including vitamin D. There's absolutely no problem. It won't harm, let me put it this way, if you just put them on a daily maintenance dose. Thanks. Can I go back to the case? Because I think the other part of my is that I need to solve that case. Yes, Asad, is that right?
Farooq, thank you very much for your time and an excellent presentation. मैंने आपके केस को थोड़ा सा खराब किया है. अभी जब आप टॉक दे रहे थे तो मुझे उसका मजीद अपडेट आया है. तो I have the latest test. तो I'll just share the slides. तो आपके वो सिर्फ उसमें मैंने जो लेटेस्ट टेस्ट डाले हैं, जो पेशेंट की कंडीशन है, just give me a minute. So we had this 70 years old female with diabetic lady, well controlled, temperature from 99 to 100, progressive weakness, saturation 94 to 95. Treatment आपके सामने है. Saturations are still there, same. She's feeling a bit better, and जो है treatment is same, paracetamol, azithromycin, and hydration. So ये हमारे पास 18th के टेस्ट हैं, 20th के हैं, आज 23rd है. तो I just received it actually, so I just put it for us कि आपको जरा हम और टेस्ट कर लें. तो CRP is marginally raised. D-dimer has come down actually. It was 370, now less than 150. Ferritin a bit high, and LDH from 230 to 400. So our questions are these. So over to you, Farooq.
So
she's still at home.
Okay. So this is, everyone would agree this is a moderate, right? But if you look at it, किसी तरह उज़ैर से कहें कि वो Is it possible कि इसके साथ वो मेरा वो शेयर कर दे प्लीज जो फ्लो चार्ट है? आई थिंक लोगों को
जी,
ज्यादा समझ आएगा.
I'll keep the questions, Farooq, but I have to.
अगर अच्छा that's fine. अगर नहीं कर सकते ना, don't worry, that is fine. Let's put the
मुश्किल-
questions up. So does she need referral to the hospital? What would hospital do at this stage? Dekho, let's go to the very first. Is she high risk? The answer is yes. Why? Because she's over the age of 65. She's 70 years old. ठीक हो गया? Number 2, she's diabetic. Is she insulin dependent or?
No, she's on gliclazide. She's on metformin. That's it, and well controlled.
ठीक हो गया. So but she's diabetic. She's 70, so therefore she would come under the categories of high risk group. लेकिन एक चीज जो इसमें मुझे reassure कर रही है, मैंने आप लोगों को बताई थी. She is at day 5 of her fever. She's not day 2. She's not day 3. And she's already start to feel better. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. मैंने आप लोगों के साथ जो टाइमलाइन शेयर की थी वो शेयर ही सिर्फ इसलिए किया है कि यूजुअली वो पेशेंट जिन्होंने बहुत डिटेरिएट करना होता है एक्चुअली दे डिटेरिएट वेरी वेरी क्विकली. तो पर्सनली अगर इस पेशेंट को डिटेरिएट करना होता बहुत, तो शी प्रोबेबली जस्ट ऑन दिस साइड, ऑल्दो we need to still watch her very very closely for another 2 to 3 days. But I don't think, I really am hoping that she will grow out of it. Acha, oxygen saturation is 94 to 95, but should we consider low molecular weight heparin? What was the D-dimers? I really don't think. She's going to stay at am I going to send her to hospital? No. Am I going to watch her? Of course. क्या मुझे इसको ऑक्सीजन देने की जरूरत है? No, not necessarily. She's already feeling better. That's 95%. There's no need for oxygen at the moment. If she, अगर उनके पास घर में है और वो उसको घर में रख सकती है, so I don't think there's anything wrong with this. But don't forget that this lady is 70-year-old. She's a diabetic. She's already in the high risk group. So I would. These are the type of patients where you want to make contact at least once every 24 hours. Bloods में हमने इनकी improvement देख ली. I do not like her ferritin, but that could be due to so many other reasons. CRP is not going up, very classic of viral infection, i.e. absence of bacterial. Chest X-ray हुआ था, if I may ask?
No, we
Okay,
didn't
that's
have
fine.
chest X-ray.
That is okay. अगर उनको cough है,
There is no cough, and she's not feeling dyspneic. She just feels weak with mild exertion. They थक जाती हैं जब going to the toilet when she comes back, but she doesn't
Yes.
get out of breath. Saturation is staying around 94, 95.
Yeah, that's fine. So my feeling is, does she need to go to hospital? No. Do we need to keep a very close eye on this lady? Yes. Does she need steroids? No. But हमने दे दिए, अब बंद ना कराएं, कोई बात नहीं. Antibiotics? No. There is no clear indication at this point. CRP, if anything, is going down. Very classic of viral, really. She does not display any feature which I need to concern too much. But just by the virtue of her age and by the virtue of her comorbidities, I would like to keep this lady under close eye. तो आप असद kindly अपने MOs को कहिए कि इनको अभी ऐसे ही manage करें, home में ही manage करें. There is nothing that we need to do different, but can we please have a contact with this lady within the next 12 to 24 hours? There's no need to carry on repeating the bloods, to be fair. Bloods have already started to show that they're getting better, but I certainly would like to see a level of ferritin in the next 24 to 48 hours. Number one. Number two, clinical context is very relevant. अगर let's assume कि 48 hours में आपने इस patient का repeat किया है bloods और ferritin जो है वो 800 to 850 आ गया. So does that actually mean that she's got CRS? Well, no, I don't think so, because the other parameters are not there. However, I would not like to just ignore this. I think we need to watch this lady closely, but she can be at home for now. She doesn't really have to go to hospital straight. एक chest X-ray kindly करवा लें please, क्योंकि हम already ये कह चुके हैं कि ये moderate है. और अगर chest X-ray में हमें infiltrates मिल रहे हैं So yes, let me put this through to you. यही patient है, 24 hours में इसका आपने repeat किया, इसका ferritin ऊपर जा रहा है, chest X-ray में bilateral infiltrates and she's 70. Then I think I wouldn't like to sit on her at home. I will ask her to go to hospital, and I will tell her that it's very likely that your hospital admission would only be for few days. Because we have now seen infiltrates, there is certainly some inflammatory as well as infective activity going on in the lungs, and just because of your age and comorbidity, you can decompensate relatively quickly. And I would rather you be in hospital if and when you decompensate rather than at home. But it's very likely that she'll be discharged fairly soon.
Okay, thank you. Ji, Dr. Altaf.
Yeah, just no remdesivir. You forgot to mention that. Farooq, there was a question about remdesivir.
Oh, sorry, I
in
beg
this
your pardon.
patient.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. The slide was not in front of me. मुझे वो slide दिखा दें, please.
Sir, you are muted, Dr. Asad.
Ji. Farooq, the question was that would you consider remdesivir in this situation?
No. So we've just talked about there is no role of remdesivir in mild to moderate. मैंने आपको evidence भी वो इसीलिए share किया था. Can you guys hear me? Oh, am I muted? So मैंने वो evidence भी इसलिए share किया था कि life-threatening situation में we've missed the boat. Mild to moderate, we are wasting money. So it's actually severe group, moderate to severe, heading towards are actually on oxygen, who are requiring oxygen therapy. She is not really. Her stats are 95, 96%.
She is not oxygen. No, she's not on oxygen.
Yeah.
Great. Ji, thank you very much, Farooq. We have 5 minutes left. Bushra, do we have any burning questions? I think बहुत सारे सवाल they have been answered. Ji, Bushra.
I'm really sorry I had to use a lot of, and I know evidence is very boring. It makes people sleep. But I think it was very important कि हम जो भी जवाब देते हैं वो evidence based पे दें ताकि लोगों को दिक्कत ना हो उसको practice करने में. And so there was a lot of evidence, I'm afraid, guys, a lot of trials that I've shared with you. And I will keep you updated as recovery trial will focus on other arms. हाइड्रोक्सीक्लोरोक्विन आउटकम आप देख चुके हो, डेक्सामेथासोन की आप देख चुके हो, रेमडेसिविर की भी रहती है, टोसिलुसिमैब जैसे जैसे आती जाएंगी we'll carry on sharing with you inshallah.
Thank you, Dr. Farooq. No, they don't have any burning questions because you've covered most of them in your talk. But there are a few raised questions I see. Dr. Amna, can you point out the raised hands, please? And maybe they have questions that they would like to ask.
So when they don't have any questions, there are only two reasons. Either they have understood it all or they have understood none of it. I hope it's the former, not the latter.
The former, because you covered all the questions in your talk. They were posting these questions and you were gradually covering these topics. And then Professor Altaf also answered a few of them.
Oh, very kind.
Dr. Murad has a question. Ji, Uzair, can you unmute him? We'll take 2 questions from the audience.
Asad, can I ask a question?
Ji, Dr. Arif, please.
Ji, Farooq, excellent presentation. For people who read little but want to know everything, this was the ideal presentation. So congratulations, really, really very enlightening. I think from what I got from your presentation was that timing is everything. I think आपकी जितनी भी initiation of treatment है and referral है, उसमें history becomes critical. Placing them timing wise on that graph becomes critical, because अब यही patient में आप अगर 2 दिन पीछे चले जाएं जो डॉक्टर हसन ने present किया तो उसके numbers ऊपर जा रहे थे, and maybe he was just getting to the peak at that point. So could you just reiterate again, because मुझे लगा कि वो बिल्कुल that's the gist of management of these patients, timing and this marking them on the graph. But very nice presentation.
Yes. So for the first, when they get exposed, what's the day 1 of the symptom, they usually don't deteriorate. The patients who head towards the hospital, they tend to declare themselves within day 2 and day 4 to 5 of their disease. So अगर आपके पास यही पेशेंट इन्हीं नंबर्स के साथ मैं रीअश्योर्ड ही सिर्फ इसलिए हूँ क्योंकि ये डे 5 है, वो ऑलरेडी बेहतर फील कर रही है। सिम्टम का डे 5 है, वो ऑलरेडी बेहतर, उसके ऑलरेडी ब्लड्स ठीक होना शुरू हो गए। सो शी इज प्रोबेबली एज यू से, सो डे 2 to day 6 of patient symptoms are very rare. अगर कोई पेशेंट हमारे एमओस को, असद ये याद रखें प्लीज, अगर इसमें कांटेक्ट करेगा तो उनको काइंडली कहें कि उस पेशेंट का जरा ज्यादा ख्याल रखें उसी फ्लो, क्योंकि वो बहुत इतने उस टाइम में है कि he can go or slip away fairly quickly, so need close monitoring. अच्छा, और दूसरा ये जो मैंने आपको ट्रीटमेंट एविडेंस दिखाया ना, वो सारा यही कह रहा है कि there is a window for you and me to institute the treatment for these patients. आपको मैंने लाइफ थ्रेटनिंग IE जो वेंटिलेटर पे थे, जो ECMO पे थे, ना टोसिलुजिमैब उन पे अच्छा काम कर रही है, ना कॉन्वलेसेंट प्लाज्मा उन पे अच्छा काम कर रहा है बहुत ज्यादा, ना रेमडेसिविर अच्छा काम कर रही है सवाई डेक्सामेथासोन के। सिमिलरली इसी का रिवर्स कर दीजिए, वो लोग जो बिल्कुल माइल्ड कैटेगरी में हैं, उनको ये दवाइयां देने का फायदा ही नहीं है क्योंकि उनको कोई फर्क ही नहीं पड़ना, तो आप पैसे क्यों जाया करते? सो द इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज day 2 from symptoms to day 6, day 7, watch these patients very closely. We have given you the diagrams, what tests you need to do, why do you need to do this test, and what do you need to watch in those tests if you want to predict the severity or deterioration. So treatment के लिए भी important है कि timely उसको hospital भेजा जाए और timely treatments, because outcome different है.
Ji Uzair, do we have a question?
Dr. Murad.
Coordinated by Dr. Bushra. I am trying to unmute Dr. Murad sir. I am requesting you to unmute yourself. Can you please unmute yourself, Dr. Murad? I don't think so.
I think there's some problem. Okay. I think what I would like Professor Altaf to say a few words. He's our course director, and I'm really grateful for him to be here. And then we'll be winding up this session.
Thank you very much, Farooq, and thank you everyone for being present. Wonderful talk, and you know what I have seen, and what I would advise that just don't reflexly on the phone call start prescribing a combination of aspirin and anticoagulants, what I call a rubber stamp physician. COVID-19, you put a rubber stamp containing Loprin, Klaxane, dexamethasone. So please don't do that. I'm seeing more patients recently with upper GI bleed from erosions and ulcers simply because of this reason, where these drugs were not needed. Excellent talk. Thank you very much, everyone, for being present. And I hand over to Kiran for a vote of thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Altaf. Thank you, Dr. Farooq. We would like to thank PMA Gujranwala and District Health Authority Gujranwala for their support, and Mr. Usman Waheed of Ferosans Laboratories for unrestricted educational grant. Also, I'm thankful to our Parsa HealthNet Echo team who are working very hard in these difficult times. Our Chairman, Chaudhry Sohail Akhtar, Dr. Asad Ali Chaudhry, our Director, Mr. Tabarak Hussain, Secretary Parsa Trust, Dr. Amna, our Facilitator in Echo League Payam, Mr. Uzair, our Clinic Coordinator, Mr. Haris, IT Support, and Salman. This session, as others, will also be available on our channel. Allah Hafiz from now on. And Uzair, can you please call off the meeting?
Yes, thank you very much, ma'am. Till next time, Allah Hafiz to all of you.